Welcome to Heliopolis, one of Cairo's most beautiful and historic neighborhoods, a place where every street feels like a journey back in time. Founded in the early 1900s, Heliopolis is famous for its stunning architecture, a blend of European elegance and Middle Eastern charm. From the iconic arches of Corba to the century-old villas with wooden balconies and stained glass windows, this neighborhood is truly a living museum. But it's not just about architecture. Heliopolis has a warm, vibrant atmosphere. Wide streets perfect for walking, cozy cafes, and a calm vibe that you won't find in many parts of Cairo. Here, you'll find a mix of old bakeries, local shops, and traditional markets that show the authentic side of Egyptian daily life. So if you're coming to Cairo, don't just visit the famous sites. Put Heliopolis on your list, and discover the true charm of the city. Most tourists in Cairo see the pyramids, haggle in the Khan el-Khalili, and then they fly home. And honestly, they're missing the best part. They're missing this. They're missing a corner of Cairo that feels like it was plucked from a different time, maybe even a different continent. It's a place that will completely shatter that dusty, chaotic image you might have of this incredible city. This is your ultimate guide to Heliopolis, the Cairo neighborhood you absolutely cannot miss. This place will change your entire perspective on what a trip to Egypt can be. So, forget what you think you know about Cairo. For the next few minutes, we're ditching the tourist trail, and I promise you, what we're about to find is so much better. The problem: to really get Heliopolis, you first have to understand the man who literally dreamed it up, Baron Edouard Impeyne. He wasn't Egyptian royalty, he was a Belgian engineer, an industrialist, a world traveler, and a guy who was part genius, part madman visionary. He came from a modest family but made a fortune building tramways all over the world, from Paris to China. He actually earned his title, Baron, for building the Paris Metro, which cemented his reputation as a man who could do the impossible. In 1904, business brought him to Egypt. He originally came for a railway project but, like so many people, he just fell head over heels for the country. But he wasn't just obsessed with the ancient past. He saw the crowded, medieval core of early 1900s Cairo and imagined something totally different. He looked out at the vast, empty desert to the northeast, land nobody wanted, and saw his blank canvas. In 1905, he and Baghouz Nubar, the son of a former Egyptian prime minister, started the Heliopolis Oasis Company. Their ambition was insane. They bought 6,000 acres of desert and set out to build a brand new, self-sufficient city. They called it Heliopolis, Greek for City of the Sun, a nod to the ancient city of sun worshippers that once stood nearby. This was no simple housing project. Impeyne's plan was a masterclass in urban design. He laid out broad, sweeping avenues, a world away from the narrow, winding alleys of old Cairo. He planned for huge green spaces, parks, and gardens. He made sure the city had every modern convenience, running water, electricity, proper sewage. And, crucially, to convince people to move out to his desert oasis, he built a tram line connecting Heliopolis directly to central Cairo. That tram was the vital link that made his whole vision work. Impeyne was also a smart businessman. He knew he needed to attract all kinds of people. Though he was a devout Catholic, he built mosques and synagogues right alongside churches, creating a cosmopolitan society from day one. He built a luxury hotel, a horse racing track, a golf course, and even what was then Africa's first amusement park. He wasn't just building a suburb, he was building a lifestyle. A place of elegance, leisure, and sophistication. And when you walk these streets today, you can feel that his dream is still very much alive. Section 2, A Symphony in Stone, the Heliopolis Style. The first thing that strikes you, the thing that literally stops you in your tracks when you get to Heliopolis, is the architecture. It is, and I'm not exaggerating, unlike anything else in Egypt, or maybe the world. It's so unique it has its own name, the Heliopolis style. When Baron Impeyne hired his architects, mostly Belgian and French guys like Alexander Marcel and Ernest Jasper, he didn't want them to just copy-paste Europe onto the desert. He wanted them to invent a new architectural language that was both beautiful and practical for the Egyptian climate. The result is this breathtaking fusion that you just have to see to believe. Imagine taking the grand scale of European neoclassical buildings, adding the romantic arches and tilework of Spanish Moorish design, sprinkling in the geometric patterns of Persian art, and blending it all with the timeless motifs of medieval Egyptian architecture. That is the Heliopolis style. As you walk around, you see buildings with big European-style floor plans and wide, shaded balconies perfect for the Cairo heat. But those balconies are held up by columns that look like they belong in a Mamluk mosque. The facades are a beautiful mess of influences. You'll see a curvy Art Nouveau flourish right next to a pointed Islamic arch. You'll see elegant French windows topped with ornate, Persian-inspired decorations. The architects brilliantly combined these elements into something that just works. It creates this incredible effect where a building feels both familiar and totally exotic at the same time. The scale is grand and European, but the soul feels distinctly Eastern. The buildings are covered in elegant arabesque patterns, beautiful plasterwork, and domed roofs that give you a sense of Islamic and Ottoman heritage. And yet, the layout of the streets, with their wide sidewalks, feels almost Parisian. This architectural mix was a statement. It was a physical symbol of the cosmopolitan ideal Payne was shooting for. It was a declaration that this new city was a crossroads of cultures, where East and West could meet to create something new and beautiful. And the incredible thing is how well preserved it all is. Walking through the historic core of Heliopolis, especially the Courba district, is like stepping into a living museum. Every building, every balcony, every archway tells the story of this incredible experiment. Now, while the whole neighborhood is a masterpiece, there are a few landmarks that are the absolute jewels in the crown. These are the buildings that define the skyline and just capture your imagination. First, and most famously, you have the building that looks like it was beamed in from another planet, the Baron Payne Palace. I've traveled a lot, and I have never seen anything quite like it. When you see it pop up on the main road, Al Orba Street, it's impossible not to just stare. It's not Egyptian, it's not European. It's a Hindu temple. Baron Payne, having seen the world, hired French architect Alexander Marcel to design his personal house. Inspired by the temples of Angkor Wat in Cambodia and Hindu temples in India, Marcel created this fantasy palace between 1907 and 1911. It's built from reinforced concrete, which was a super modern, cutting-edge material at the time. The outside is covered in statues of elephants, snakes, and Hindu deities like Shiva and Krishna. It's a wild, almost surreal sight in the middle of Cairo. For decades, the palace was abandoned and fell into ruin, becoming the subject of all kinds of ghost stories. People whispered about secret tunnels and black magic rituals. There's a myth about a rotating tower, supposedly so the Baron could watch his city grow, though that's never been proven. But thankfully, the Egyptian government stepped in, and after a massive restoration, it finally reopened to the public in 2020. Today, you can walk through its halls, admire the incredible detail, and from the rooftop, you get this amazing panoramic view of Heliopolis, proof of how the Baron's desert dream bloomed into a massive part of the capital. Just a short walk from the palace is another defining landmark, the Basilique Notre Dame de Heliopolis, or the Basilica. If the Baron's palace is a personal fantasy, the Basilica is a statement of community and faith. It was also commissioned by the Baron and designed by the same architect, Alexander Marcel. Its grand central dome and Byzantine Revival style are stunning, and its design is often said to be reminiscent of great Byzantine masterpieces like the Hagia Sophia in Istanbul. It stands as a powerful symbol of the religious diversity Payne wanted. But its most important feature is underground. In a crypt below the main church lies Baron Payne himself. He loved Egypt so much that he wrote in his will that he wanted to be buried there, forever a part of the city of the sun he created. And then there's the third giant, the former Heliopolis Palace Hotel, now the Itihadiyya Presidential Palace. When it opened in 1910, it was advertised as the most luxurious hotel in Africa and the Middle East. This was the social heart of the new city, where royalty and tycoons came to play. With 400 rooms and huge, lavish banquet halls, it was the definition of opulence. During both World Wars, it was turned into a military hospital for Allied troops. In the 1950s, it became an official presidential palace, the office of the President of Egypt. You can't go inside today, but you can still admire its magnificent facade from the street. Its sheer scale tells you everything you need to know about the glamour and ambition that defined Heliopolis from day one. Beyond the grand landmarks, the real magic of Heliopolis is just getting lost in its streets. Each district has its own vibe, its own rhythm. This is where you really connect with the neighborhood. The undeniable heart and soul is an area called Courba. The name is thought to come from the French Le Courbet, meaning the curve, which perfectly describes the gentle arc of its main square. To put it simply, Courba is one of the most charming places in all of Cairo. It honestly feels like you've been dropped into a southern European city. The streets are lined with magnificent old buildings with shaded arcades on the ground floor, perfect for a stroll. This is where the Heliopolis style is most alive. The buildings are gorgeous, and the ground floors are now home to a wonderful mix of old and new, upscale boutiques, art galleries, and of course, fantastic cafes and restaurants. Sitting at an outdoor cafe in Korba is a top-tier Cairo experience. You just sip your coffee and watch the world go by. It's got this relaxed, sophisticated vibe that feels a million miles away from the chaos of downtown. Just a stone's throw away is Roxy, another major hub. If Korba is the elegant heart, Roxy is its bustling, commercial twin. Centered around a busy square, Roxy is where the neighborhood comes to shop and eat. It's more modern and has a faster pace, a place that buzzes with energy well into the night. Then you have the quieter, residential streets that show you another side of life here. Avenues like Al Merghani and Nasha are known for being wide and tree-lined. While modern Cairo has built new roads and overpasses that have changed some areas, in these pockets, you can still really appreciate the original Garden City concept. You'll see beautiful old villas set back from the road, with lush gardens and huge trees. Ard El Golf, which literally means land of golf, was built on what used to be the original Heliopolis golf course, and today it's a calm, affluent area. Walking through here, you see a side of Cairo life that is tranquil, orderly, and just pleasant. You can't really know a neighborhood until you've eaten there, and Heliopolis is a paradise for food lovers. Its food scene is a perfect reflection of its history, a delicious mix of European traditions and authentic Egyptian tastes. The cafe culture here is legendary. Many of the original spots were inspired by European tea rooms. Famous pastry shops like Mandarin Coiter still have that old-world charm and are beloved for ice cream and traditional sweets. But it's not all stuck in the past. Korba is now filled with trendy, third-wave coffee shops and brunch spots. You can get a perfect flat white right next to a classic cafe that's been there for 100 years. When it comes to restaurants, the diversity is just as impressive. You can find incredible, authentic street food. If you ask anyone in Cairo for the best shawarma, they'll point you to one place, Abu Haider. For over 50 years, this spot in Roxy has been serving what is arguably the best shawarma in the city. There will be a line, but trust me, it's worth the wait. But Heliopolis is also known for its more upscale and international dining. Because of its history, you'll find fantastic Italian restaurants like Pepe Nero and Korba, excellent Lebanese food, and big restaurant plazas like Tivoli that have a bit of everything. There's also a touch of faded glamour to be found. A place like Lamphytrion, a vintage bar and restaurant in Korba, is a true gem. It has this wonderfully nostalgic feel, a place where you can grab a cold beer and just feel the ghosts of the past. As evening falls, the outdoor cafes fill up, and the area buzzes with a sophisticated but relaxed nightlife. After you've seen the palaces and tasted the food, what really stays with you about Heliopolis is the atmosphere. It's the vibe of the place. This isn't a neighborhood built for tourists, it's a neighborhood built for living, and as a visitor, you get to step into that life for a day. There's a real sense of community here. You see the same faces at the local cafes, and shopkeepers who know their customers by name. There's a pride of place here that you can feel. One of the great joys is just finding a bench in a park like Maryland Park, which was once a horse racetrack. You can just sit and watch families having picnics, people jogging, and friends catching up. It's a glimpse into the everyday life you usually miss on a typical tour. The pace of life just feels slower here. The wide, shaded sidewalks invite you to stroll rather than rush. Getting here and exploring is also way easier than you'd think. Heliopolis is located right between the airport and downtown. The old historic tram is gone now, but the super modern Cairo Metro has expanded with Line 3, which connects Heliopolis directly to the rest of the city, making it incredibly accessible. Once you're here, Uber is everywhere and cheap. But honestly, the best way to explore the heart of Heliopolis, especially Korba, is on foot. This is a neighborhood made for walking. The distances are manageable, and every street offers some new detail to discover. It's by walking that you truly appreciate the grand vision of the city's design. Walking through these streets, I've been captivated by the story of how one person's dream became this incredible reality. It got me thinking about all the other hidden gems around the world. What is the most beautiful or unique neighborhood you've ever stumbled upon in your travels? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories and maybe add a few new places to my own list. Your recommendations are always the best. Conclusion. So, this is Heliopolis, the city of the sun. A dazzling piece of European elegance and Eastern charm, tucked away in the sprawling metropolis of Cairo. It's a neighborhood born from a wild dream, a place that proves Cairo is so much more than ancient monuments and crowded bazaars. It's a city of incredible diversity, serene beauty, and surprising stories. It's the feeling of sitting under an arcade in Korba, sipping coffee as the world strolls by. It's the awe of standing before a Hindu palace in the middle of an Arab capital. It's the peace you feel on a wide, tree-lined avenue that feels a million miles away from the city's chaos. This is the side of Egypt that can completely redefine your trip. It adds a layer of depth, elegance, and modern culture to the epic history Egypt is so famous for. So on your next trip to Cairo, after you've marveled at the pyramids, do yourself a huge favor. Carve out a day, hop on the metro, and come here. Come get lost in the beautiful boulevards of Heliopolis. Come discover the Cairo you never knew existed. Trust me, it's an experience you can't afford to miss.